Hey, how's it? Good morning. So, this morning I managed to watch a couple of minutes on Bonsai Shongwa's show, and it had to do with the interrogation, questioning of Becky Cele. And he showed some snippets of the famous altercation between Cele and Cameron, where Cele told Cameron to shut up and that Cameron regards him as a garden boy and that he went to Robben Island fighting human rights or for human rights. And while I was sitting watching this whole questioning now in Parliament, listen to that beautiful bird. But while I was watching this whole thing in Parliament, a couple of questions came to my mind and a couple of opinions were formulating. First of all, there's absolutely no doubt that he was fraternizing with a man who cannot get bail, Kat Matlala, because of his involvement in all kinds of criminal activity, who's now meeting with the Minister of Police at the time in 5-star luxury hotels. This man is living in and hanging out in his multi-million rand penthouses all around the country. And is apparently then asked to intervene in an internal police dispute between Sibia and Kumalo, all for the sum total of nothing. All of this being done for free out of the goodness of our hearts. Now, one of the things, I've got a few things to say. So let me start with this. Okay. On the other side of the news, we have a bunch of Afrikaners, 44 of them, who have now penned this article, not in our name, targeting the United States' policy on minority refugees in South Africa. And the big hoo-ha now about certain government officials about how fantastic these Afrikaners are, for pushing multiculturalism, diversity, and transformation. And then we have the other bunch that are still screaming about free Palestine and all of that stuff, which the genocide narrative is falling apart faster than it was put together. So that entire thing is collapsing, but still on the platform, free Palestine and all of that stuff, the South African government, And then at the same time, half the government facing parliamentary and ad hoc committees and commissions on corruption and fraud. So what me as an average person and a relatively intelligent human being would then ask, if half the government is facing questioning on crime and corruption on the one side, and the other half is pushing these narratives from the same government, okay, what are we then to believe and make out about what their policies and support really mean? You can't expect me to believe that a portion of this government is involved in high-level crime and corruption without the other portion of the government not knowing about it whatsoever or not being implicated and involved in it. So, to me, government is government. And what I then have to deduce is that all these articles being penned by these journalists, pro-government journalists, all the support for these what can I call it, movements, as well as what they're involved in, must then, in terms of this police corruption, must then all be corrupt. Because corruption is corruption. You can't expect me to support you in your movements and in what you're saying on certain things on the left, when on the right, you're busy consorting with people that are killing and murdering my fellow countrymen for money, while you are receiving something in return for your support of these people. And when I look at the Palestine conflict, it's blatantly clear that's exactly what's happening there as well. You're supporting Palestine because you're receiving something in return from governments and countries that are notoriously involved in terrorism. Now, when Bekele and Cameron had their altercation 3 years ago, Bekele was talking about Robben Island and how he spent time on Robben Island. Now, when you see what's going down in Parliament and in the ad hoc committee and in the Matlanga Commission now, one cannot but ask the question, what was actually the reason you were in Robben Island? And did the National Party government actually behave correctly by putting you there? Because from what we're seeing live on our TVs now, 30 years down the line, that is really where you belong. Because you are involved in criminal activity, consorting with criminals, and supporting criminals in their endeavors. On the other side of the coin, the reason why the National Party put these people in government is because the ANC was declared at that time a terrorist organization. And here we have the ANC clearly involved in supporting nations and organizations that have been declared terrorist organizations and countries and supporters of terrorism around the world. So one has to start really wondering about what really is the truth about why you were in Robben Island, you know? Because it's clear that you are unable to function at the level that is required by government officials with integrity and as servants of the people that put you in that position. It is clear to me that the government of this country believes that they are the kings and queens of South Africa and that we are the serfs and that we must just bow down and accept everything they say and everything they do because they are in charge and they have taken control of the country. Our job is to work and pay tax so that they can live in luxury while exploiting that situation to be involved in criminal activity while killing fellow South Africans who have got the guts and the arrogance to expose you for your crimes. So what I really think is a viable option is to close down the Apartheid Museum at Robben Island and possibly even the one in Bloemfontein, close them down, all right, and put these ANC officials back where they started their careers in crime, back in these prisons. Because it seems to me that they were justifiably in these places based on what we are seeing on television every single day of our lives. That perhaps the racists didn't put them in prison because of racist laws and because of the apartheid system. Perhaps they put them in prison because they recognized 30 years ago who these people really were and believed that they needed to be removed from society before they did what they're doing to us right now. This is the reality we're facing. That people, you know, give you another example. A year or two ago, Jacob Zuma was released from prison on medical grounds. He was dying. 2 days ago, I watched him showing the caucus of MK that he's fit and strong while dancing on the stage at the ripe old age of 83, doing a aerobics lesson there. This is what we are dealing with. And what really frightens me about this entire situation, and I've said it before in my videos, all right, that people are supporting this. They support it wholeheartedly. South African citizens are fully behind these criminals. Okay? And B, that we, the rest of us, just accept this as how it is. It's frightening to me. It's frightening to me that these people are the best we've got. And see, what I've really said a number of times, is that those that are questioning these people seem to be withholding serious questions in lieu of the fact that there's a high probability that they themselves are implicated. How can we have people that are themselves implicated in corruption and fraud and theft and mismanagement and all this stuff, sitting in a parliamentary ad hoc committee questioning people who are implicated in fraud, corruption, mismanagement, and theft? This is beyond ridiculous. While at the same time, standing at the ICJ accusing another country of criminality. This is hypocrisy at a level never seen. And then, while this is all going on, people don't understand why our government is not being called as a member of the peace delegation. And while that is going on, all of a sudden, Johannesburg is being rebuilt overnight, when before it was just left to rot. And you, South Africa, are paying for it. And you, South Africa, and myself, please understand, I don't exclude myself, are accepting of this entire circus. Lekker, that's my word for today. I don't know what we're going to do, but change has to come somehow. And I'm at a loss. You know, I've already noticed in a couple of weeks that I've been in a small, tiny little portion of the political world in terms of being part of a drug committee, how quickly a group of people can just push to the side and silence people that have value, but they don't want to hear from, in the fear that it exposes their own failure. Amen. Have a fantastic day. God bless. Cheers.